Don't buy a house in Hamilton, Ontario until you know these 5 things. I've watched people fall in love with a listing photo, skip the homework that needs to be done, and end up stuck in a house that they regret. Not because the house was bad necessarily, because they didn't know what they were buying into. But let's make sure that doesn't happen to you. Hamilton's market is actually pretty good for buyers right now. Prices have cooled off since the peak in 2022. Buyers actually have some room to negotiate again. You can have conditions in there, and there's still a ton of value compared to Toronto or Oakville or Burlington or many other cities in the GTA. But like many other cities as well, Hamilton has variety from street to street. What works at one house may be a completely different situation just a couple blocks over. So here's what actually trips people up and what I'd tell you if you sat down in my office right now. Mistake number 1, buying in the wrong pocket without walking it first, without exploring it. I sell in Hamilton every day, and I still tell buyers the same things. Google Maps doesn't tell you necessarily what a street feels like. I just had somebody reach out to me yesterday. They sent me a property, they're interested, they're moving from out of town, and it was a beautiful home. But I had to warn them that it is in a pocket north of Barton Street in the downtown core, which, for some people that can be fine, but I gotta let them know that there are some gritty areas around that. So it's just a perfect example of what I'm talking about here. Down near the harbor and along Burlington Street, you're in an industrial territory. Steel plants shift traffic, and depending on the wind, you may get a smell. Fine if you work down there and you want a short commute, but not fine if you want a quiet family life and you didn't know that was just up the block. Same issue near Mohawk College and around Ainsley Wood or Westdale by McMaster. Those are nice walkable streets. They're also full of student rentals. Buy there without knowing, and your Tuesday night might become a house party 3 doors down every week, September through April. Mistake number 2, not checking what the house actually sold for down the street, and this should be your realtor helping you on this, not what the other one is currently listed for that's been on the market for 90 days. That's not a comparable property. This is the one that costs people real money. Listings tell you what a seller wants. They don't tell you what a bank will actually lend against it. When your lender orders an appraisal, they're pulling sold prices from the last 30 days, maybe 60 in that specific area. Not the asking price that you're comparing against up the street that your seller hopes that they'll get. If your offer comes in above what similar homes actually closed at, you're the one covering that gap out of pocket, on top of your down payment and all the other closing costs. In a city like Hamilton, where a street of century homes can sit next to a street of new builds, this can really come into play. So get your agent to pull real comparables before you write an offer, not after. I have a great first-time homebuyers guide that'll walk you through all the steps. You can get that in the description below, or simply shoot me a text with any questions you have at the number here. Mistake number 3, skipping the inspection because the house looks brand new. Hamilton is a great market for investors and flippers. Someone buys a rough-looking house, redoes the kitchen, throws on some new flooring, some paint, and the listing looks like a magazine spread. It looks fantastic, but that doesn't mean it was done well with permits, and it doesn't mean what's behind the walls got touched at all. I've seen flips where the surface work was beautiful, and there's still knob and tube wiring behind that. A $400 inspection will catch all that before you buy it. Skipping it to save time or money is how people end up with a 20 grand surprise on closing day. Mistake number 4, ignoring what a century home actually means. Hamilton has a lot of gorgeous century homes, especially around Durand and Kirkendale. I get why people would want one. Just know what you're buying though. A lot of these homes can have original clay sewer lines that crack and root clog over decades. They may have knob and tube wiring like I mentioned, and insurance companies do not like this. They will make you rectify it before giving you full coverage. And sometimes there can be old buried oil tanks that nobody's dealt with. None of these things mean that you can't buy the house. It just means you have to budget for it and get someone who specifically knows older homes to look at it, not just necessarily a general inspection when there's suspicions that some of these things might be there. Number 5, not accounting for the mountain access problem. If you are buying on the Hamilton Mountain and working or shopping down in the lower city, you need to actually understand the access routes. There's a limited number of ways up and down the escarpment, the Jollycut, Claremont, Kenilworth, a few others, and at rush hour, they can be backed up. People buy a house up top thinking it's a quick trip downtown or down to the highway to commute to Toronto or Niagara, and they find out that their 15-minute drive is maybe 35 or 40 minutes on some mornings. Drive the actual commute at the actual time of day that you're going to be before you commit, not on a quiet Sunday afternoon. And number 6 is not building the right team before you start shopping. I can't stress this enough. Get pre-approved. Step number 1. With a mortgage broker. If you need to be put in contact with one, feel free to send me a message and I'll put you in touch with some great guys. But before you tour a single house, this is something that's really important you need to do so that you know your real numbers and you're just not hoping. Because trust me, when you look at $800,000 homes, then you find out you're only approved for 700. There may not be anything wrong with those $700,000 homes, but they won't feel the same compared to the $800,000 home that you just fell in love with. So work with an agent who actually knows Hamilton street by street, not just the general market. And line up an inspector and a lawyer before you have a tight deadline, because the good ones are usually booked up for a while. So remember, if you buy in the wrong pocket, skip the numbers or the inspection, you're not just unhappy, you're stuck with that home. Now you know, so do it right.